All righty. Good morning, everyone. Sorry about not coming on yesterday, but I was dealing with my sinuses. I have sinus problems, so I had been dealing with them over the weekend, and in fact, they just increased. The situation just increased on Sunday. So, but anyways, I'm up and I'm here to kind of share with you on this morning. Hear me and this light go. I'm here to share with you on this morning just for a few seconds um, about something that I was kind of pondering on after watching the Mahalia Jackson movie. And it really got me thinking about just things, just we as human beings. Sometimes we striving so hard and we're living out gifts that we see as our gifts that, God gave us and the ability that he gave us to do things. And I often always say this because it's so true that we are more than one thing. And sometimes we allow life to dictate to us on what all that we are. And we'll start limiting ourselves and not realizing that it's so much about each and every one of us that we just don't completely grasp all the time. So as I was looking at the movie, and she was talking in a role in that role. I don't know why this glare keeps. I don't know. I don't know. Me and these lights keeps hitting my glasses. So her and the guy that was playing Martin Luther King, they were talking and having a conversation, and she was at that point thinking about her faith in God. And so very often that happens with us as well. Sometimes we feel like we're wavering in our faith and like it's just something that, we just don't completely understand all the time because we feel that, I'm not as good in my Christian walk as somebody else, or my walk in life as somebody else, my walk with God as somebody else. And something that he said in that movie, he said, faith is not something that you can hold or keep. It's just something that we work on every day. We work on it every day because we are faced with challenges every day. And that is why we cannot allow life or people to beat us down because we not walk in a certain way that is pleasurable to someone else. As long as what your life imitates is pleasing to God, and he knows that you are not perfect. He knows that I am not perfect. But one thing that we can do is be faithful to him and faithful to ourselves, because we might say, well, I am faithful to myself. Sometimes we do self-talk to ourselves like we got it so together and we don't. Sometimes you have to do a self-evaluation. You got to check in on your faith. You got to check in on your belief, not only in God, but your belief in yourself. Trust in yourself, because whenever you get weak, you got to have something to hold on to. And the number one thing that I find is sometimes it's just you and God. A lot of times in your life, it's just going to be you and God. And he's going to be sometimes the only person that you could trust. Because all of us get to a point where we doubt. You ever doubted yourself? You ever felt like, nobody told you this. You just began to doubt yourself, to doubt your abilities and capabilities to do things. And where that stems from so very often, and I learned this through my academics in psychology, it stems from that inner part of us, that inner child of us that is always trying to take us back to the things in life that we failed at before we even reached the point of adulthood. And that's the part that we fight for the entirety of our lives, because it's something always in your life, no matter who you are, it's something that's always going to keep you or take you to a point of doubt. Well, I'm telling you this morning, not telling you, but sharing with you this morning, that, God has so much for me and so much for you. And the greatest gift that when we look at gifts, the greatest gift from another perspective is purpose. Purpose. One of the greatest gifts is purpose. You've got time, which is the greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts. And I think I believe it's at the ultimate top of gifts. Because when you give time away, you can't get that back. So that's a precious gift that you share every day. The time that people give to me, they can't get that back. The time that I give to others, I can't get that back. That's what's so precious about it. But another one of those precious gifts from God is purpose. What is your purpose? Only you know that. And you know what I found when I thought about it and I pondered purpose. Look for your gift in that. And you know what? It was clarified. You don't have to look for your gift in that, Electra. That is your gift. Not just yours. Many others. Purpose. When you find your purpose, remember this, everybody not going to like it. But as long as you know that he has spoken to you and you are indulging and engaging and passionate about what you do, that's your purpose. And as long as, I always say this, as long as God approves, it don't matter about nobody else. That's why many of us hide our stories. So many of us hide our stories because we want people to just see us as this one thing that they enjoy, that they agree with, that they like. What about God's approval? What about that? That's a question only you and only I can answer. I know that God gives all of us gifts, different, various talents. But don't forget that purpose is one of your gifts. Don't leave that out. Or you, this morning, when you look on the inside of yourself, on the inside of you, not somebody else, on the inside of you, do you see God helping you to fulfill your purpose? Whatever business you are in as an entrepreneur, when you do that with all that you've got, that's part of your purpose. If you sing like Mahalia Jackson did, if you sing, that's a part of your purpose. If you're an author and you continue to write books, that's part of your purpose. Because we all got a story. But see, a lot of us hide it. We are books walking around. All of us. We are a story ready to be written. But how can somebody read your story when you're afraid to tell it? So you just keep on hiding your story. I didn't even know until that story came out, and I watched it on Sunday, Mahalia Jackson. I did not know she was a hairdresser. She owned a beauty salon. See, a lot of people, all we know is that she sang. Many of us. But she did other things outside of just singing. And she gave of herself in the civil rights movement. And it's just, when I looked at that movie, it touched me deeply because it's something that God had been telling me to share with the people. You are more than just one thing. Can't you get that? Why do you feel like you are just that one thing? When God has just made you wonderfully, you are wonderfully made. He orchestrated you like nobody else. Keep that in mind. Believe in it. Trust it. Know God made you uniquely. And stop just feeling as though because you've done that one thing, that's all you can do. Look and examine yourself within yourself. You are more than one thing. And the only reason why you feel like that, because along the way in life, people have defined who you are. And you think that's just it. You're a beautiful person. You're a wonderful person. And you are more than just one thing. Sure, you know, I work at an institution of higher education. And I truly enjoy it because I'm a people person anyway. But I love communication. I love communicating with others. I believe, and I just shared this with my grandson on yesterday. You got to, in anything in life, you got to know how to communicate. You got to know how to talk to people. Not only do you got to know how to talk to people, you got to know how to treat people. And whatever you put out is going to come back to you, even your words. If you put out hateful and mean words, that's going to come back to you. If you put out words of caring and concern for others, that's going to come back to you. Whatever you put out there, you speak it out in the atmosphere, that's going to come back to you. See, sometimes we're looking for everybody else to be perfect, but we are not. We are not ourselves. We're looking for other people to be who we don't even reach that point in our own lives, but we demand it of others. And that's not fair. You have to sit down and you got to learn about people and learn about what makes other people tick, what hurts somebody, what makes somebody else smile. The things that you and I should see as a value in one another. We never tap into it sometimes because we don't sit down and listen and communicate. And communication helps the world go round. Yes, it does. Because I can tell you what I need and what I want and what I desire, and I'm not the only one. Everybody across this world, somebody is going to try to meet that through different adventures. See, before the Wright brothers made the plane, don't you know somebody was already talking about that? How do you get up there in those skies and travel from one country to another. See, that was communication. How can you take somebody's hair and straighten it out and give it a different texture from just the way that it is? That took communication for somebody to design those chemicals. That pressing iron to press somebody's hair. Somebody had to think that up before it didn't just jump out there and just be. But it took some communication. It took people talking about that. It took people talking about skyscrapers. It took individuals just walking around with that thought in their head. But you know, you won't always understand all of the things that come in your head. You won't. But one thing that you can do is write it down. And at some point, talk about it with somebody. Talk about some dreams and some goals that you have, some ideas that you have. And you know what? And I honestly believe this. You can meet 1 million people, but sooner or later, God is going to let you meet that one person in your path to help you. You can meet 1 million people along the way. I believe that within my heart. Sooner or later, God is going to put that one person in your path that's there to help you go a little further, to help your dream flourish, to help those ideas come to pass. He'll do that for you, to give you an opportunity. The things that people laughing at you about, the things that people feel like, why is she doing that? That's crazy. That don't even make sense. And I'm not just saying, I'm saying that as a woman myself, but people do that to men too. That don't even make no sense. What he trying to do, what she trying to do. It doesn't have to make sense to you because that is not your purpose. Some of the things that you've done and you flourished in, it didn't make sense to you. It didn't, but you kept doing it and you kept working on it. And you know what? You look at you now. Look at you now. Look at what you are doing now. Some of those things that you felt you couldn't even reach. So I say, reach for the stars. I told my grandson this on yesterday. You go as far as God will take you. But never forget to give him the credit at the end of the day. Because all of the credit goes to him. Because if you can do whatever you are doing, he gave you the breath to do it. He gave the strength in your body to do it. To do what? To get from place to place, to mobilize. He gave you the brain to think. He gave you the eyes to see that thing. He gave just that vision alone. He gave you that. And he gave you the mouth to communicate so that people can hear you in what you are saying. They can hear your ideas. They can hear your concern. They can hear your passion. That's one thing about the podcast. I love the fact how people come on and they share their passion. I love that. You tell your own story on my podcast. I love that. And you know what? I get energy from that. Just hearing others talk and share with the world their story. Their story. They're not sharing my story. They're sharing their story. And I'm so excited that God gave me that vision to create that. And it'll be in place as long as God says. because he's in control. And I don't ever want to lose focus of that. That's his podcast. He's just using me. And I'm glad about it. And you know what? It doesn't matter how many people doubt, again, what I do, what you do. Keep doing it as long as God is pleased with it. As long as he's pleased with it. You do it. There was also something else that stuck with me when I was watching that movie. That the gentleman in the role of Martin Luther King shared with Mahalia Jackson when they were talking. And he said, the things most important to us are invisible. Listen to me. The things most important to us are invisible. And he named 4 things: freedom, hope, love, and God. Think about that. Freedom, hope, love, and God. Those things are so important to us, whether we want to admit it or not. He said, but they are invisible. Starting with freedom. Sometimes on the inside, you don't even feel free. You don't even feel free. That's why sometimes people move around as victims all of their lives. You can't see your freedom. Because sometimes you can't get out of some of these situations in life that's so unhealthy because you don't feel free, because you don't see it. But you are. You are. You're free to think. You're free to believe. You're free to trust in God. You're free to hold on a little while longer. You're free to reach for the stars. You're free for every opportunity that's out there for you to grab at it. There's so many things in freedom. Those are only a few that I can think of right now. But you have to believe that freedom is real. It really is. And you can have freedom from things that's enslaving you in your mind right now. Freedom. Then hope. Hope. You can't put your hands on it, but you can have hope. Hoping that things that can get better and will get better. Hope right now in a lot of our lives of this economy getting better, this pandemic ending, hope of seeing family that we haven't saw in a while. Hope. You know the things that you hope for. And you know what? They there. You just have to keep hope and trusting in God alive. Love. Loving others like God wants us to. Not that love, hate that we got. Because in this world today, it just seemed like we just got so much hate. We just finding reasons to hate. We just making up stuff to hate somebody else, hate another race, hate a person. People we don't even know. We just see them on television and we just hate them because somebody else don't like them and say hateful things about them. We say that about races, different ethnic groups. You don't even know why you hate these people. When God is love, when he is love, why do the world today have so much hate? You know why? We indulge ourselves with it. Because somebody else don't like something or somebody, we start taking part in it and we call it right. How can I say that I love God and all I do is spew hate? How can I do that? Because up here in my mind, I have not freed myself. You still a slave in your mind when you don't free yourself from hate. You might not want to admit it, but it's true. Whenever you can't free yourself from hate, you are still a slave to that. And sooner or later, you're going to see where God is trying to show you that. You can't keep hating these people. You can't find bad in everybody. You just, that's crazy. Because you're going to destroy yourself. You can dislike what somebody do. You can dislike another person's actions. But hate is so powerful and it's so ugly and it's caused so much disruption. And guess what? And God doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. That thing is powerful. And that thing is stagnating the world as I speak this morning. So many people enslaved to that. And they don't want to move past it. And they look for reasons just to hate instead of simply loving others and meeting others where they are. That's important to God. And it should be important to you. You can't just say you a Christian. That don't work with God. It might work with you in the circle you in, but that don't work with God. Your circle may approve of that, and they may justify that, but that don't work with God. God is love. And he looks beyond our faults and see our needs. And we don't want to do that for others. Try looking beyond somebody's faults and see their need. You stop hating them so much. The next thing, that fourth thing that he mentioned, the things most important to us are invisible, and that's God. You don't see him in the flesh, but you know he's real. I know he's real in my life. It's things I saw him do in other people's lives. See, that's why you shouldn't be in competition with nobody else. Because what God is doing in your life, he's doing in your life. And what he's doing in their life, he's doing in their life. You know, I have these sinus problems that messes with my eyes and just causes lightheadedness. And I was experiencing that in yesterday. That's why I didn't come on yesterday. And I don't like that. I don't like it when I'm like that because it slows me down. And the medication that I take, you know, on both ends for my eyes and for my nasal area, and it just, sometimes it can be too much when you're taking medications or having to do topical things. But I look at the expense of the medications and how God provided me a way to even get it, to get a medication that would cost me $600 if I didn't have insurance. Instead of paying $600 for one medication for my optical area, it's $600. But God blessed me to have insurance It only cost me $30. That's a blessing within itself. And you know what? When I was thinking about that, I said, man, God, you so awesome. You constantly providing for me. So before I complain about something, let me thank you. Because you showed me where you provided for me once again. And he does it time and time and time again. Time and time. He not only does it for me, he does it for you. So look at your life. Think on those things. Meditate on those things. Look at how good God is to you. And even though you don't see him in the flesh, he's still there for you and for me. So what I'm saying to you, out of everything that I said on this morning, shared with you on this morning, I want you to make a promise to yourself, to you, to yourself, that you're going to stop hiding your story. Your story deserves to be told, to be shared with others. You don't know who needs to hear your story. You don't know who needs to see you enjoying freedom, you enjoying hope, you enjoying love, you enjoying God. Those invisible things, those things that we need the most. Those things, they are the most important things in our lives. But you know what? Even though they might be invisible to you at times, to me at times, they are still an important piece in our life. They're the most important pieces in our life. And having those things, freedom, hope, love, God, gives us faith to hold on a little while longer. Faith to hold on a little while longer. Trust him. Not me. Trust God to show you how to tell your story. That's your story. Don't you never, ever forget that. Never in life. And remember, you can do more than one thing. Okay? I wanted to come on this morning and share that with you because I know it's somebody out there that's hanging on by a thread, don't know which way to go, have given up on everything because you feel like life has just beat you down so bad. But I'm telling you this morning, hold on. God has you. God is not giving up on you. There is some hope on the inside of you. There is some love on the inside of you. There is some freedom on the inside of you. And also there is God who sees you, who's watching over you, who's covering you, who's dispatching angels. They're bringing down blessings, taking up blessings, bringing down blessings, taking up blessings over your life. You hang in there. Hang in there with tears in your eyes. Hang in there. Can you do that? Can you trust him? Can you let him direct your path? Can you do that? I just want to inspire and encourage you this morning, no matter who you are. Even though I do this, others encourage and inspire me because we all are human. Every last one of us. But you know what? God works through human agency. And just like I'm important to him, you are important to him as well. Okay? So you hang in there. Hang in there. And don't forget this. You are a book walking around. You are. You a book walking around. And guess what? You haven't written one, but people reading you. People reading your story. They trying. So why don't you go on and tell your story? And then that way, you can tell the truth. That's your story. All right? So I thank God for you this morning. And again, I'm still working on these eyes of mine. I got to go in here and put this medication in them before I get out of here this morning, going to work. But I just pray that this morning's conversation was inspiring to you. I know I feel a little slowed down because the medicine kind of slows me down. The other medicine I take. But I'm gonna get past this too. I am. I'm not gonna be enslaved by, things that take place with me medically. I'm gonna keep pushing, and I want you to do the same because you can. I have some announcements this morning before I get off. Tomorrow night, we're gonna have Ty McDavid is going to be on, and she is a college professor, and she's going to be speaking with us on tomorrow night about accountability in the world of professionalism. So it's going to be really interesting because she has been sharing with me some of her conversations. She's very excited about coming on and sharing with us. And she does. She speaks like a professor all the time. And she's very, very influential, I'll say, into the conversation of getting you indulged and want to be involved as she is talking and sharing. And so I've placed her on my page so you can, see a visual photo of her. That's what I do is I'm trying to bring on individuals, guests who are going to be interviewed. And so again, you can go on to my page and I'll update it again on today as far as continuing to announce her presence of coming on tomorrow night at 6:00 on my podcast, Inspirational Electra James Inspirational Talks. That's the podcast on YouTube. So if you get a chance, you can tune in, and I let people tell their own story. I don't tell people's story for them because I don't know other people's story. I just know my story. So I enjoy people coming on and talking about what's passionate to them. Okay. So that is tomorrow night at 6:00 on the podcast, Electra James Inspirational Talks. Now, tonight, my technical director, she offers the writing sessions at 7:00. So on Tuesdays. So tune into that on Jacqueline's Life Well Lived. That's also on my page. And she is, talking to us about writing. And I'm just so excited. This will be the 4th session that she's doing. It's of no cost. She does this because it's passionate to her and she want to share with the rest of the world, something that she's passionate about. She is an author. She's written 20 books and continuing to write. And so that's so interesting to me to sit in on such sessions. So again, that is set at 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights. Jacqueline's Life Well Lived, and again, she is an author, and she's written just not just books, but many other articles that she has written. And so I am inviting you to just participate and see and just get the opportunity, take the opportunity to just, tune into something a little different. And we're trying to do something. Also, we're going to do something on my podcast. She's going to come on and be talking to students who are getting ready, prepared to go to college. So she's putting something together for that in writing. And I can tell you this for a fact. By working in higher education, many times our young people that graduate from high school, we do celebrate them. But I will tell you this, they have a lot of fears when they first come out of high school. And the hardest thing that I've found is that writing is one of their difficult subjects, which is English. And so this session that Jackie offers is so important because she's talking about that very thing. And before she retired from the institution of higher education, she did a lot of assisting students with writing, so she knows the ins and outs of that and preparing for the different tests that they have to take just to enter college. So anyways, I can't say enough about it. And I'm not as up on it as she is in what she does, okay, in the manner and format that she uses. So again, if you get a chance, and I pray that at some point you would, tune into Jacqueline's Life Well Lived and just listen to her writing session. And you might have some kids who are coming out of college, coming out of high school. They're going to need this. They're going to need these techniques. So again, I'm going to also have her to come on my podcast, and she's going to also talk about that. Another thing is coming up in June. This is in June. This is the first Wednesday in June. I am going to have set that first Wednesday aside. Let me look at my calendar here because I need to really get this out here. On June 2nd, I'm going to go on and share that with you. We give our scholarships in remembrance of my late husband, Michael James. So we're going to be giving out scholarships on that night. We're doing it virtually, but we're going to do it with 3 students, I believe 3 students this year. And we're going to be doing it with them, and hopefully their parents will join them on the podcast on June 2nd to give out scholarships to 3 students who will be graduating from high school this year through the Michael James Scholarship Fund program. That was established in remembrance of my late husband, who was a pastor of over 32 plus years. One of the things that he done when he was alive on this side of earth, he would, every year he made sure that the church gave money to the students who graduated. And that was a thing that he did. And also, if they needed laptops, however we could help with that. But that was something he did on the side with students who, some of the students who shared that with him, that they needed that. Everybody didn't need that help, but those who did, he made sure that he took part in that. And that was something that he did individually. But education was a big thing to him. And most of us, education is important, but I'm saying the way that this was established was because of his passion that he had for the young people to keep moving in life past high school level. It was a way of encouraging and inspiring them to continue to educate themselves. So again, in remembrance of my late husband, Michael James, he is remembered every year. We have been doing this 5 years since he's been gone. We continued it, giving out scholarships to graduates of high schools, and just keeping something that was dear to his heart alive. And that is how we celebrate those who have gone on. That's how I celebrate him, doing things that I know was something he was passionate about. He was a giver, and he also loved seeing the youth being educated. So this scholarship fund is so dear to my heart and many others who were a part of Trinity Missionary Baptist Church. And it's an honor. It's an honor to keep this going. It's such an honor to keep this scholarship fund going. And I enjoy it every year that this time comes around. And again, he has been gone from this side of earth for 5 years. And for 5 years, we have continued to give out scholarships. So join us on June 2nd of this year for that podcast. All right. So got a lot going on, and I'm thankful to God for it. I'm still working on getting other speakers to come on to the podcast, and I have two more that I'm looking at coming on in May. Anyways, I'm trying to just work on my schedule and keep doing what God, has blessed me to do, and part of my purpose. I want you to do the same thing. I really do. I want you to do the same thing. Please look within yourself. Find your purpose. Ask God to reveal it to you. And you know what? It's there. It's there. And it don't matter who else don't support your purpose. God, as long as he is your audience, you gonna be all right. Okay? So don't be afraid to tell your story. Stop hiding your story. Because you're just a walking book anyways. People reading you, they just reading you how they want to. Okay? Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm going to get off of here and go take this medicine and get myself situated to get out of here and go to work today. Okay? I love you, and so does God. And I look forward to those who can to tune in to the writing session on tonight. And on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, tune in to the podcast with Ty McDavid. She's my friend, and she taught English at the college where I am continuing to work, and she's working at another college now. But, it's a wonderful thing to just have her on to share. And I look forward to you guys tuning in. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. Love you. Bye-bye.